What's up, everybody? Ghost Gamer here. More School of Hard Knocks stories for you, if you will. I'm just kind of doing these in a series while I have stuff on my mind. There's a couple things that I've been talking about recently, so might as well run with it, you know? It'd be really cool if I could take that camera out. But this video, even though I'm doing this in a back-to-back series, you're not going to notice that until, well, unless you watch them back-to-back. This little video, though, is going to be about how I got in trouble by a frickin' first lieutenant. Yes, I know. Anybody that's in the military, it's kind of like a joking, oh, you got in trouble by a first lieutenant, what's new? First lieutenants are fucking worthless anyway, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Well, this actually stems from getting a lot in trouble. Now, just so you understand, when I first went into the military, I was a POG. P-O-G, person other than grunt. That means that basically you're not in a... You're not in the infantry. Easiest way to put it. You're, you know, in a support function or what have you. You know, you're either a mechanic or supply, admin, whatever. It wasn't until afterwards that I reclassed. But before I had the chance to reclass, I was actually a 45 kilo or an armament repair technician. I worked on tanks. Specifically the part that fires the fucking gun. Well, the one day we were out doing a convoy operation out in the middle of frickin' the desert in the States, and
where does it lead to, Sergeant?
A couple things ended up playing out in a way that kind of pissed me off. One, I basically got pulled from the job that I was supposed to be doing because a lieutenant wanted something done for him as a quote-unquote favor. Needed to be done now, so on and so forth. And basically all it was refueling vehicles. Something that I didn't need to be... that wasn't my MOS, you know, it's not something that I need to be doing. What do I give a shit, you know? Have somebody else refuel fucking vehicles. So, we're going through, and we're basically filling up everybody's fucking truck. I mean, every Humvee, every Deuce and a Half, 5-ton, LMTV, MTV, you know, the Abrams, the Bradleys, everybody's getting filled up with JP8. Okay, cool. Well, the downside of all of this was the sheer fact that we had a crap ton of gas left over. And the whole reason that they wanted all this crap, you know, basically used up is because they wanted to do some work on one of the trucks. Basically, it was... oh shit, I almost got detected. Oh fuck, I did get detected. Basically, it was a 5-ton with fuel tanks on the back. They needed to do some work on it. There was a very small, teeny tiny little leak. They needed to do some modding, so they had to flush the tanks. When we filled up everybody that was on this convoy out. And when I say everybody, I mean absolutely everybody. Everybody had gas. There was nobody that was out of gas. And we're like, alright, well, hey, LT, what do you want us to do with the rest of this shit? Because we were still a couple hundred gallons of gas left. And that's not an exaggeration. I mean, we had literally probably about 200 gallons of JP8 left. And he was like, well, you know, I don't care. Just do what you got to do to get rid of it. And I looked at him and I was like, are you sure? And he's like, I don't care what you got to do. Get rid of it. This needs to be done. You know, how the hell did he word it? Something to the effect of, do whatever it takes. It needs to be done. That's your mission. Blah, 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 blah. You know, trying to be all fucking hardcore, high speed, low drag motherfucker. And I'm like, alrighty then. So, with that being said, I took it amongst myself to dispose of this JP8.
Everybody on board now!
And not the right ways. Everybody was filled up. Nobody could take on any more gas. So a small group of us decided to basically say, fuck it. We drove this 5-ton out in the middle of the fucking desert and basically said, okay, well, fuck it. Open up the dump gate. We're going to basically dump every fucking ounce of fuel this thing has so we could basically flush it out so the welders could do their job. So, yeah, think about this here for a second. You know, we basically dumped all this gas out in the middle of the fucking desert. And we couldn't leave well enough alone. It wasn't so much that we dumped the gas, but that we decided to take all of the pallets that we had our ammo cans sitting on and decided to stack those on the dumped fuel and basically have an FNG or a fucking new guy take a flare excuse me, take a flare and try and ignite all this gas so we could basically have one of the biggest bonfires I have ever seen in my fucking life. Not the brightest decisions that I've ever made. Not only is it extremely illegal because the EPA would have a fucking... let's just say they would have a fucking fit about it. But being young, stupid, and hey, first lieutenant told me to do whatever it had, or whatever I had to do, whatever it takes, blah 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 blah, like that would actually fly for shit. And I basically said, well, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. So we made the biggest bonfire in probably the history of that fucking desert. Probably about 10-15 minutes go by, and we see headlights off in the distance. Now, keep in mind, this is at night. This isn't during the day. This is like straight up fucking middle of like 10 o'clock at night. Dark as fucking shit out there. Can't see damn near anything, but you see a pair of headlights fucking racing through the desert. If you want to take a guess on who it was, yes, you are correct. It is that first lieutenant. And he is pissed. Absolutely, positively pissed. MFing me up one side and down the other, threatening me with an article. Again, for those of you who don't know, well, it could have been a couple different articles, but most importantly and foremost, it would have probably been, you know, maybe an Article 15, which meant that I was going to lose, like, you know, half my pay for 45 days, get 45 days extra duty, lose rank, which at that time I was a PFC. Even though I didn't have a whole lot of rank to lose, it was still, I would have still lost it, you know. I mean, it would have sucked either way. So, of course, he MFs me up one side, down the other, and of course, me and my fit of brilliance at that time just made the comment, well, sir, you told me to do whatever I had to do whatever it takes to get rid of it. I got rid of it. Thankfully, needless to say, even though we had one of the biggest bonfires probably in the history of that place, range control was all sorts of pissed. Well, some of them were. A couple of them thought it was amusing. Lieutenant was pissed. My first sergeant was pissed. My platoon sergeant was livid. And my squad leader just sat there and shook his head.
It's a good freaking song.
That was one of the most fucked up things I've probably done in my military career. It was definitely illegal beyond all get out. It's one of those things you just don't want to do. And I was dumb enough to do it. But, yeah. Figured I'd share that little fit of history with you guys. Wasn't the smartest of things to do. I'm sure I'm probably going to get some hate mail from somebody that was in the EPA because we basically illegally burned a bunch of fucking gas and all this other shit. Open burning and toxic fumes and what have you. But figured I just wanted to share. Well, the statute of limitations might be up on that. Should be up on that. But I figured I'd share, let you guys know some of the fucked up shit that people do in the military, because that is by far one of the fucked up things that you do. Well, you shouldn't do, but I did. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, want to hear more of these things... Damn it, I'm losing my voice. If you want to hear more of these stories, you want to add to it, take it away, or take away from it, what have you, by all means, throw that in the comment box below. I'm actually... excuse me. I'm really interested to see what some of you fuckers have. Because I know there are tons of stories out there, and I like hearing stories. I like telling stories, you know, I mean, it's one of those things that you typically don't really, unless you have a lot of vet friends, or friends that are still in the military, it's not something that you get to hear on a daily basis. So, I don't know, it is what it is, but some of that shit's fucking downright hilarious. And